What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Sports Now. Welcome all my streamers, all the guys that like to pick up pitchers during the week, and my guys who like to two-start pitching. I'm one of these streamers. I do this every single day because my league allows it, so I might as well. Just to show that this is adding some value, last week we had Brady Singer. He had a huge start yesterday, got a dub, looked great. Jonathan Gray looked great as well, had a dub. Mike Minor, 9 Ks, 6 innings, looked great. And Robbie Ray, 6 innings, 9 Ks. He did not win that game. But pulling 5, 6 of these guys kind of out of this list of pick-upable players, I think is pretty good. The one we did get wrong, though, was Casey Mize. Unfortunately, my boy here, he has not looked quite what we expected here in Detroit. And he went 5 innings, 6 earned, had a few strikeouts in there, so that's good, but that's not what we're looking for. Anyway, we're looking for week 4, not week 3, but I wanted to throw some of those out there just to show that, you know what, we are getting some good value out of this, and so I like to jump just right into the content, so if you like that too, you know, hit the subscribe button and like and all that fun stuff. But the way I do this is I go and I look every day for a couple streaming options for all of you guys. If you're new to this, I'm at 50% or lower rostered. So these are guys that should be available in most of your leagues, okay? So the way they have this is kind of who they think on this site, who's the best option here. And for Monday, I actually agree with them, which is kind of rare here. Desclafani is, you know, I like this start. I think Colorado is one of these teams that used to be scary, and they've fallen off a lot. Even games, so this is in San Francisco, which helps as well. I like that. He's also looked good, which helps, but I think that the roster of Colorado is just diminished. They rather score 9 runs or they don't score anything at all. And for all those out there, kind of a sidebar is the at Colorado games are not nearly as scary as they once were, because Colorado's offense just isn't as good as it was. So when we're picking streaming options, even though this is in San Francisco, I keep that in mind because the offense here for Colorado has struggled. So that's my pick for Monday. Going against Gomber. Gomber actually has looked pretty well, and I think I have him on my upcoming list here, but so we'll get to that in a second. Moving on to Tuesday, I'm going back to the well here with Adrian Hauser. On week 2, I believe it was, I took him on the list, and he did not perform well. In fact, it was my low guy of the week. But I like to start at home against Miami. Miami's offense has kind of sputtered a bit lately, and Milwaukee has looked really good. I think Milwaukee, most of their success has come from their pitching and their bullpen, which is their strength. I think that their offense can be frustrating to watch, and Yelich is on the DL now, but that's okay. As long as Hauser pitches well, that's what we're looking for. And we're looking for games that you can win, and I think this is a game that he can win going against Miami. So I like that. I like Aaron Sanchez. I'm kind of going back to that well as well. San Francisco against Colorado. I'm going to pick on it. And, you know, he doesn't get a lot of Ks, as you can kind of see here. But he he's not walking a lot of guys, and he's got a great, strong ERA. He's not giving up a lot of runs. And being at home in San Francisco, Pitchers Park, I like this. He's not owned in very many leagues, so if anybody, he's going to be available here. Moving on to Wednesday, I actually agree with them again. I think this is, like, of all the players to pick this week, I think they really nailed this top 3. I have all 3 of these guys on my list here, and Domingo here. These are my 4 guys. Alex Wood, again, picking on Colorado. I'm sorry. Marquis is obviously much better opponent. So if you're looking for dubs this late or a win in this column, maybe not on Alex Wood. But if you're looking for pretty much all the other counting stats, then this is your start. If you're looking more for wins, then you go to Mike Minor because he's playing at Pittsburgh. Mitch Keller is okay. You know, he's going to be a good pitcher, I think, in this league. But at Pittsburgh, that offense just it's non-existent. I don't want to say that. That's not fair. But their best player is even hurt. So, but Mike Minor looked good last week. We picked him last week. He had 9 Ks. I already mentioned it. And there's not really much reason why I don't think he can do that again. So look for that. J.A. Happ actually looked really good last week. Cleveland's offense, to me, is not good. You know, okay, I'm biased. I'm from Detroit, all that. You know, Cleveland's been beating us up for a while now. So I don't really have any hatred. You know, all the hatred from Detroit was, what, like 12 years ago? So it's all good, Cleveland. I love Jose Ramirez. He's great. He's one of my favorite players. He's the man. But I like this start here because I don't think the rest of Cleveland's lineup is that great. Hermann, you know, I know a lot of people don't like him. and that's fair. There's a lot of bad things that took place, but being at Baltimore with a Yankees team that seems to be awakening, I like this start. He hasn't been that great, but it's a winnable game, and I'm looking for games that you can get the wins, and I'm looking for counting stats as well. This is a start that I think that he can succeed in. He might not go deep in this game, but I think he can succeed, so that's what I'm looking for. Thursday is basically my skip day. I am done picking Dylan Cease. When I looked at this initially, I was like, oh, Dylan Cease, yeah, against Detroit, that's a great start. You know what? He gets a lot of he gets a lot of strikeouts. If you're looking for Ks late in the week, then sure, Dylan Cease, snag him, but don't expect a lot of innings. Don't expect a lot of don't expect a whole lot because he likes to walk guys. He's all over the place. I was hoping his command would get better this year. I really expected it to, and it just hasn't yet. So Thursday is pretty much my skip day. If I had to pick somebody, I would go with actually Martin Perez at Texas. Gibson's not a bad start, but Boston's been pretty hot, and Martin Perez is going against Texas. That's where I would go if I had to pick something Thursday. So moving on, don't want to make this too long. Friday, looking at, who do I got here? I got John Gray and Joe Ross. Joe Ross kind of was upside down a little bit this last week. I picked him actually last week in this as well. He had a terrible first start, but looked really good in the second one. I think the second Joe Ross is what I expected at least more of. And picking on Miami a little bit, I don't really like this. Going against Lopez. Lopez has been amazing. But I do like this, and I like that. So this might not be a winnable game, but it might be one where you're getting a lot of counting stats. John Gray has looked great. I know I talked about Colorado not being that scary, but at Arizona, Arizona's not what it used to be. They got that whole humidor, whatever it is, humidifier. I can't remember what it is, but the balls are dying. It's not like it used to be. It's not scary for me at all. And John Gray has looked great. You can see the stats, a lot of walks, but that's all right. I think it's an easily winnable game. So for some reason, Saturday and Sunday, it's like the month rolled, and they just forgot that baseball's happening on May 1st. But I do have some names here, so you'll have to just remember them. Austin Gomber, Colorado, going against Bumgarner at Arizona. So Bumgarner did just throw a no-hitter. We could argue whether it was a no-hitter or not. He finished a game, 7 innings with no hits, so it's a no-hitter. Usually guys coming off no-hitters don't pitch that great the next time out, and he hasn't looked great outside of this one start. So for me, at Arizona, I kind of like Gomber on Saturday. Sunday, I'm going with Adam Wainwright at Pittsburgh. I hate picking on the same teams a lot. But to be fair, I picked on Oakland in week 2, and then I stopped because they started looking good and they got really hot. And I didn't pick on them at all, and they got even hotter. So you got to kind of pick your battles here. Wainwright at Pittsburgh, I like. They haven't named a starter for Pittsburgh. Garrett Richards at Texas. They haven't announced a starter for Texas. I like Boston. I like them beating Texas. I like St. Louis. I like them beating Pittsburgh on Sunday. So 2 good options late in the week. The 2 start options are kind of weird this week. Not a lot of teams have really announced who's going to be pitching, which is not fun for us. But my expectation is that, obviously the guys who are pitching Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Tuesday are going to be the guys most likely pitching, on Saturday and Sunday and all that fun stuff. But a lot of these guys actually are owned in most of these leagues. You're seeing Wheeler and Manea and, Bureau, Burns. All these guys are owned, so we can't just pick these guys because obviously if Burns isn't owned in your league, you're going to pick him, right? So I actually have 2-star Adam Wainwright. We just talked about him being at Pittsburgh. Let's see if we could find St. Louis here. He's going against Philly. Philly's kind of hit and miss. So my 2-star guys are always like in those leagues where I have to start 2 guys, and it's weekly rosters. I played in that league for a long time. We got away from that, but there's a lot of leagues that still do that. So Wainwright at Philly, or at home against Philly, I don't mind that too much, but the start I'm really liking is this one, whichever one it's going to be at Pittsburgh. So I think that if there's bad here, you're going to get the good here, and it's going to at least balance itself out. Domingo Hermann was a 2-star pitcher, but it looks like they might have updated it and moved him back actually within the last 30 minutes. So he was on my list, but no longer. I think that really any of these guys that might 2-start for the Yankees going against Baltimore and Detroit. Depending on how this shakes out here, I would be looking at either of them. And I actually have everybody actually on this list I've already mentioned, because, like I said, most of these guys are already going. But Austin Gomber I actually have on here. So let's go up to Colorado and check him out really quick. At San Francisco, yeah, this says it's a hard matchup. I like being at San Francisco. It's a pitcher's park, and I personally don't see San Francisco's offense being that great. And then being at Arizona, somewhere over here, both of these matchups I feel like will lead to not being blown up, which is kind of what we're looking for with two-start and streaming pitchers. So that's kind of list, guys. The two-start pitchers are kind of scarce. Like, I'm not going with Matt Harvey against New York and at Oakland. I have no idea why they think being at Oakland is a good start. Yeah, it's a pitcher's ballpark, but Oakland is absolutely on fire, and I'm not going to risk taking somebody at Oakland. That just feels like a blow-up game. Zach Davies at Atlanta, at Cincinnati. Like, these just feel like blow-up games. So the guys mentioned, I don't feel like will get blown up in San Francisco and at Arizona. So a bit of this is playing safe, and that's what you have to do. Anyway, guys, check out the channel. We will see you next week, or if not, tomorrow. We do the injury stuff and all throughout the week. We'll see you next time. Appreciate you guys.